Long before explorers ever set foot in Africa, deep in the heart of the continent stood a mountain covered in endless clouds. The people who lived nearby called it Mountain Banga, the mountain that breathes. The Zondo Kingdom villagers believed the mountain was alive and that a giant spirit slept inside it. For generations, they brought gifts, fruit, carvings, and songs to the mountain's base. They believed this giant spirit protected the balance of nature. The elders warned, beyond the mist, the gods still walk, so no one dared climb too high. But every legend has someone who refuses to believe. One season, a group of wandering hunters came from a faraway land. They were searching for a flower said to grant endless strength and long life, which supposedly grew on Banga's peak. The Zondo elders begged them to leave, yet greed spoke louder than wisdom. The wanderers noticed that for a place of such power, the Zondo people treated the mountain as an isolated, sacred boundary. This curiosity made them explore the mountain's lower reaches. Deep inside a network of dark mountain caves, they made a shocking discovery. The caves were not empty. They were filled with untouched treasure, piles of gold, ancient jewelries, and glittering raw diamonds. It was a fortune big enough to rival any king's vault, yet it lay ignored and covered in dust. The wanderers were stunned. How could a poor village ignore such wealth? When they came back down, they asked questions, demanding to know why no one cared about the treasure hidden inside the mountain. They were led to an old, wise man they called Mzijua, elder son. Mzijua sat the wanderers down and began to tell the true history of the mountain and the treasure. He spoke of the days of their ancestors, long ago.
Once upon a time, he said, during the earlier days of our ancestors, the Dorthan Empire dominated all the lesser kingdoms. The Zondo people were one of the enslaved kingdoms. The people prayed constantly for a savior, someone sent by the gods to deliver them from their bondage. One day, the people decided they could not wait for their savior any longer. They decided to fight back. But their rebellion turned into a bloody massacre, and many of the Zondo villagers were slain by the enemy's sword. In the middle of the battle, a baby boy was born to one of the women. After the birth, a soldier, Captain Rooker, the leader of the Dorthan forces, killed the helpless, weak mother and took the newborn boy child back to his home in the empire. The Zondo people lost the war completely. Thousands survived the slaughter, but mostly women and children, and they were all taken back to the Dorthan Empire as slaves. They waited in pain for their gods to answer their prayers, but it seemed the gods were sleeping. The child grew up in the house of the man who killed his mother, Captain Rooker. Rooker and his wife loved the boy and treated him like their own son, never telling him the secret of his birth. They gave him a powerful Dorthan name, Nkuru. From a young age, Nkuru was exceptional. He possessed an uncommon strength, a divine gift, not the strength of an ordinary man. He was fast, agile, and skilled in combat. At any age, he could easily defeat any Dorthan soldier who dared to challenge him. Soldiers whispered that he had a divine power. When he grew into a man, Nkuru was unstoppable. He joined the Dorthan army and became an exceptional soldier. With him on the front line, fear gripped their enemies, who sometimes fled just seeing his power. He fought in many wars, always winning and dominating. One day, while returning from a war, Nkuru rode his horse past the ruin of his original homeland. The village was burnt down and isolated. As he rode past, a blinding vision flooded his mind. His human eyes saw beyond the present moment. He saw everything that happened on the day he was born, the exact spot of his birth, the killing of his beloved mother, and Captain Rooker taking him away. The vision tormented him day and night. He couldn't rest. He decided to investigate his origin. He found one of the Zondo elders who was also enslaved in the Dorthan kingdom. He spoke to them, and the elder told him the whole history, a story that matched perfectly with the vision he had seen. Nkuru resolved to set his people free. He told the old slave elder to be ready, assuring them he was coming back. Unknown to him, Captain Rooker had been following his moves, ready to eliminate him before he found the truth. But Nkuru had already learned everything. He confronted Rooker. His father figure, under Nkuru's frightening questioning, broke and confessed everything, killing his mother, stealing him from the battlefield. Rooker, however, had soldiers hidden in the house, ready to capture Nkuru. Nkuru, full of rage, struck the soldiers. They were top-ranked men, but they were nothing against his divine power. He defeated all of them in no time and escaped the Dorthan kingdom to prepare for the rescue. The empire expected him to strike with arrogance, but Nkuru was wiser. He returned at night. He used his knowledge of the kingdom's secret routes to sneak in. While the Dorthan soldiers waited for an attack at the main gate, Nkuru secretly and silently cleared out half of the entire empire's soldiers inside. He released all the prisoners and slaves, including his own people. He secured the weapons room, armed his people, and charged the remaining Dorthan forces. Nkuru, the exceptional soldier, now led his people against their enslavers. They fought with the ferocity of those who had endured bondage for decades, and with Nkuru leading them, they were unstoppable. For the first time, they won on the enemy's land. They freed the remaining people and, after leading them back to the ruins of the Zando kingdom, Nkuru became their protector and strength. No other kingdom dared challenge them because of him. Decades passed after the liberation. One day, Nkuru went to sleep but never woke up. He lay peaceful, looking alive, but with no pulse, no breath. The people prayed for him to wake, but he remained still. Then, the gods spoke through a wise one. He has joined us, but he remains with you. He will always be your protector. Some time later, the Zando people were attacked by a new, powerful kingdom. They were almost losing the battle, but in that moment of hopelessness, Mountain Banga roared. A giant gorilla raced down the mountain, striking the enemy soldiers with a fury and strength that was the same as their past warrior. Their spears and arrows shattered on his skin. The Zando people won the battle, sending their enemies fleeing. The people believed their warrior, Nkuru, had been reincarnated into the form of the giant gorilla. They offered gifts and sacrifices to the mountain, calling the Great Ape Nkuru, the name they whispered for their legendary, heroic soldier. From that day on, Nkuru the giant gorilla protected the kingdom, coming out to save them whenever they were in danger.
The elder, Mzijua, concluded his story. Nkuru still protects the Zando kingdom till today. This is why the treasure is left untouched. It is a monument to the man who became a god. But the wandering hunters dismissed the tale as a simple folk story. They took the elder's words as confirmation that the treasure was still unguarded. Their greed for the gold was too powerful to heed the warnings of what lay inside the mountain. They snuck back into the cave, sure that deeper inside they would find even more wealth. They began to take the gold and treasures. Suddenly, Nkuru, the powerful king, emerged from the shadows. His fury was the rage of a god defending a sacred place. The hunter's puny weapons couldn't penetrate his skin. The powerful ape crushed the ground beneath them, sending tremors across the valley. The mountain roared, the forest wept, and the Zando villagers heard the loud, terrible screams of the intruders. The men were never seen again. Days later, when the clouds cleared, the villagers saw new marks carved into the mountain face, shapes that looked like the faces of the lost hunters. The elders said the mountain had taken their souls. Centuries passed. Travelers and explorers heard whispers of a mountain god, a giant ape who ruled over an unseen kingdom. Those who went searching never returned. Over time, the original, rich, and spiritual tale of Nkuru, the great warrior who became a giant protector, changed. When a lone survivor of the hunter group eventually made it back to the Western world, he knew the truth of Nkuru. But to sell the story for profit, he removed the mountain, the people, and the spirit. He called the myth about a beast, and he sold it to a famous, ambitious filmmaker. He changed the sacred Mbenga to the fictional Skull Island and erased the glorious history of the Zando people. He changed his name, the name of the warrior that became a god. He called the great protector King Kong. The people of Zando still remember. They know Nkuru was not a monster. He was a guardian, misunderstood and betrayed by outsiders' greed. He protected the land, not destroyed it. And when thunder shakes the forest of Mbenga, the elders still whisper. The king still watches. Because long before the world met King Kong, Africa already knew his name. He was Nkuru, the living mountain.